A teacher from Wales has been awarded a £150,000 compensation after they were physically and emotionally abused by one of their pupils.
The teacher, who was working at a school for boys with social, emotional and behavioural issues, was left with injuries to his face, mouth and head after he was punched and headbutted.
My goodness. Well, to tell us more about how widespread an issue this is, we're joined now by head teacher Christine.
I'm quite scared.
Are you scared of being disciplined by...
Well, last time she asked me to do lines. And do you know, I'm always very honest. You don't know why I was scared, do you? You know we've met, don't you?
I know we've met.
No, before.
I know.
I didn't know that you were from that school. That's why we've met. I won't go into detail.
Yeah, but I didn't ask you to do lines, if you remember rightly. I actually asked you to have a reading list. So have you actually done as you're told?
No.
Incredible. There you go.
Haven't.
Now can you give him lines, please? Now please give him lines. Look, this is obviously a really horrific incident, but it's not an anomaly. It's by no means a one-off.
It's hard to tell how bad this situation is in the UK at the moment, because I was looking at a survey done by the NASUWT, which is one of the largest teaching unions, and they did a survey where 90% of the respondents said they had been sworn at or, come across physical violence. But that was only 6,500, and there are over 500,000 teachers in the UK. So it's very hard to, sometimes, what we hear in the media, whatever, is through surveys like that, which are not totally representative of the population.
Can I go out on a tangent for a reason? I don't know, I'm older than Nick, OK, but a lot older. In my day, Nick, just hear me out, because I'm trying to explain this. You were scared of the police. You were scared of your teacher. We have teenagers who turn up at school and swear and keep their own time. Many teachers have said to me, on a very serious note, we have absolutely no control. We're not allowed to raise our voice. We certainly can't do anything else. We'll be reported to the Human Rights Commission or something. Are teachers being sterilised, neutralised, if you like, because of the way teaching is nowadays? And is that part of the problem here? Have we moved all rights to kids so these poor teachers are impotent?
I think there's an element of that. I mean, no one should be scared of anyone. It should be respect rather than being scared of. And I think that element of respect has gone.
But that comes from not a fear, but that comes from a respect or fear of the rules being... That's what I'm saying. If a teacher backs down now because of the way the world is, that doesn't help you, does it, as a profession?
No, it doesn't. And there's so many rules and regulations that you've got to abide by. But I think if you've got a good school with good structure and good policies in place, and some of the policies that are being used in the country at the moment, I believe do not work. So, for example, restorative behaviour management, which means sort of negotiating. In my school, we've got very clear boundaries. If you don't want to abide by those boundaries, that's fine, but go and find somewhere else to be educated.
Madam.
Do you find that parents are being cooperative as well? I can imagine that's quite a big part of the issue.
It is a part of the issue, because behind every child's success in school, it's a triangle. It's the child, the teachers and the parents. And if you've got good support from home, it's a win-win. Things are just going to happen. But when you don't have that, and we're seeing more and more of that, that's when things go badly wrong.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you might be that if a school, for example, gives a child a detention, rather than, if I got a detention when I was young, well, I didn't, because I would...
Of course you didn't.
I can't mention...
I did, and I would have been terrified of what my mother would have done to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Even her voice would have scared me to death.
The suit look.
But now parents will come back and go, well, I don't think little Johnny should be in a detention.
Yeah.
And again, that's a case of, well, look, when you came here, you agreed by our rules and regulations. And again, and we've actually got it written into our policies that if the parents don't support, or if they don't, believe in what we do, this is not the place for you or your child. And children will lose their places because parents are not behaving.
I read a story the other day of a teacher had said that they were physically assaulted by a student, and they wrote to the parents and said what had happened, and the parents replied by saying, OK, well, we're going to give him a banana on the way to school. We're going to call it the calming banana, and maybe that will be the thing that stops him from physically assaulting you. But I imagine this kind of thing happens all the time, whereby you're disciplining children and the parents come back with a softly approach and think that there's no way on earth their precious child could have done X, Y and Z to a teacher.
And that's totally misguided, and they're making a rod for their own back, and the problems will come later. So those parents, we only have children up till the age of 18. Those parents have got the children for life. Parents behave like that, good luck.
But I love you now. I'm really not scared of you. No, but the point is really relevant. What we're saying to I think this is social media. I think this is a younger generation. I honestly do, Nick. I know fear is the wrong word, but if you do not respect the police, if you do not respect teachers, if you do not respect the army, because we now live in a world where apparently it's all right not to do that, that is going to have an impact on teachers. They're going to lead kids to attack teachers. That's a fact.
Well, I think the 50% of teachers are thinking of leaving the profession, and we've got a recruitment crisis as we have at the moment. I know of schools local to me, because we're getting more applications from these schools, where there are children in exam halls being taught by one teacher via Zoom because they cannot get the teachers in school. And that's because the teachers do, you know, one, it's really hard, but the working conditions have to improve for teachers to, you know, get teachers back in the classroom in front of children.
And there are some schools, I mean, this payout of £150,000 happened at a school that is specialised for children who are violent.
So now, it's easy to blow that up and say that's
yeah,
like it,
and for some of these children, it is not their fault because they have diagnosed, you know, psychological or otherwise behavioural issues. But what's the government doing, or what is the, you know, the school union doing to protect teachers who are on the front line and actually would expect that kind of behaviour in the classroom, a violent retort from a child?
Well, I think it's down to health and safety at the end of the day. And in all schools, you have to have risk assessments, you have to have health and safety meetings. So if you've got children potentially in your classrooms that could kick off and hurt someone, there should be measures in place for that. And I do know people that have worked in schools for children with social emotional behaviour difficulties, where there are other people present in the room. That teacher should not have been put in danger. There should have been appropriate measures put in place. And if they can't provide that, then that class should not have occurred.
I mean, I will always sit here, because I'm 58 and I can, and say that it's all got a bit soft, society. But what measures would you like as a teacher to be implemented to make your job easier?
My job is relatively easy because I am a firm head teacher of a certain age like you, Jeremy, where I don't stand any nonsense. And I am very tight on health and safety and also employment relations as well, because I've seen in the same article that we were referring to that there's many tribunals and things going on. If you do things right, you play by the book, you follow the procedures and you stand firm on what you believe, you won't have those problems.
Wonderful.
I think you're brilliant.
That's told.
What you don't know is my kids go to a school about 100 yards from her school, and if I'd met you, that might have been different. Fair play.
And I remember meeting you in the train station a couple of years ago.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
I think, you see, I have this vision of this scary head teacher. But yeah, I'm sorry, I do think you're right.
Yeah.
We're making our teachers impotent.
Well, see, we've learned something here. It's not about you being scared of Miss Cunliffe, it's about you respecting her.
And respect is mutual, Jeremy.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
Are you going to do your reading list now that you respect her?
I'm flirting with my teacher.
Are you going to do your reading list now?
Can you take me and show me what a reading list is?
It's a bit too early in the morning for me to be flirting with you.
Well, thank you so much, Head Teacher Christine Cunliffe, for joining us again this morning. Do come back, please.